Welcome to Wrong Time Watch. My name is Kevin, and today we're looking at the Borealis Neptuno. Before we get into the watch, let's take a quick look at the packaging. So it comes in this nice little leather, I'll call it a travel case. The watch fits in here quite nicely. It's simple but effective packaging, and it is signed with the Borealis logo here. All right, let's take a closer look at the watch. Now this is the full lume dial version of the Neptuno. Keep in mind that this is a prototype, so some things may change, but I think overall this is how the watch will look. So right now this watch is available for pre-order. The pre-order price is $145 up front, and then when this watch is ready to ship out, you pay the other half of it at $145. I can't remember if the shipping is including in these or not. I seem to think that it's not from some of my previous pre-orders. I actually pre-ordered one of these myself before this one came in on loan from Rob. I bought the, it's like a snowflake dial without a date, and it doesn't have this inner circle quadrant type thing on here. So, since this is a pre-order, it is expected to ship in July of 2021, this year. Watch is 300 meter water resistant. Has BGW9 super lume, and this is the full lume dial, and also the bezel insert is lumed as well. It looks like ceramic, but it's not ceramic. It's actually a PVD hardened steel bezel, which ought to work just as well as ceramic, and actually wouldn't shatter if you were to drop it. So that works for me. You can see it does have AR coating on this crystal here. It said online that it is a double domed sapphire crystal, and this looks to be a flat crystal. So as I mentioned, this is a pre-production model. Speaking of this being pre-production, I did have a bit of an issue sizing the bracelet on this. This one here has a double head slotted screws, and if you've never sized one of those, it's really not fun, but I believe that is changing for the production model. I think I have one of the pins here. Yeah, you can see it right here. Zoom in a little more. So there's the one end where a screw will go in, and then there's the other end there with the slotted screw. Now, if you want to take a quick closer look at the beads of rice bracelet links, there it is right there. It's a little bit more of a challenge because these little things like to flip over, but it's really not a big deal. You're not going to be sizing this, but what, once or twice maybe? I would say once, because you have all of these micro adjusts. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, looks like 6 micro adjusts there. So plenty of room to get this to a good fit for your wrist. Now it's not a quick adjust ratcheting clasp, but this is fine. Those other clasps tend to be a bit thick anyway. So since we're looking at the clasp, the inner portion of it here is milled. This is thick stamped metal, which is perfectly fine. Double deployant pushers with the safety clasp. There's a signed safety clasp. I've really come to appreciate the beads of rice bracelets. They're very comfortable. I would put it on the same level of comfort as the Jubilee bracelet. At least this one here. I've had this watch for a long time and it just wears so great on wrist. Let's take a look at these side by side. They're similar proportions, and I'll go over the measurements for this in a moment here. Actually, I'll tell you, this is 40 millimeter, and this one is 42. The bezel on this is actually proud of the case, which is great for gripping that bezel. look at it this way. This watch looks really thick to me. It is a bit thick at 14, but it looks thicker than that. This SKX is 13 and a half. But I think it has to do with the slab side of this case. It doesn't have any curve to it like the SKX. But big fan of the SKX. Okay, so the dimensions on this, lug to lug on this is 47. As I mentioned a moment ago, the case diameter is 40. And this bezel is proud. It sticks out of the case. The bezel is 41. I think that's a great feature for getting a good grip on this. Bezel action on this is great. Sure you can hear it clicking away. So it lines up pretty well. As I mentioned, the thickness is actually 14.2. The crown on this is a very good size crown at 7.4. It's a signed crown as well, as you can see there. There's the B engraved on there. And the bracelet, the lug width is 20, and it tapers down to 18. And with the fixed center link here, it takes that lug to lug out to 52 and a half. And the wristband on my wrist is 52. So we'll see how that looks. Since it slopes down so quickly, this looks like more than a 45-degree angle. It doesn't really affect it too much. But there's one, it's not really I guess it's kind of a complaint. It just, to me, it looks a little weird with this beads of rice bracelet. All these small links here, it looks great. And then when you get here, these center things are very long. It looks a little strange to me. I don't know how you would get around that. I guess if you had the female center links, well, yeah, if you have female center links, that would definitely take care of it. Kind of like this Jubilee bracelet here. But this is a hollow end link. I think you could probably do that on this as well, even with the solid end link. So solid end link, solid outer links, inner links. The whole bracelet is solid 316L stainless steel. Everything on this is 316L stainless steel. Here's the case back. There's a nice little engraved mermaid there. I'm not sure how you guys feel about engraved case backs or decorations on case backs, but I don't really need it. However, I do like display case backs, so that's something that's not really necessary either. All right, let's get this on wrist. You're gonna have a 6.5. Sorry, this with this pre-production model, the clasp isn't always latching on here. Kind of got to fiddle around with it a little bit. Oh, you know what? I didn't zoom in on the dial here. Getting ahead of myself. So let's take a closer look at the dial. This is a full lume dial, which we'll look at in a moment. It's nice and bright like a flashlight. One other thing, I kind of have mixed feelings on that black chapter ring. It does match the bezel, but it makes the dial look really small and the bezel looks really thick. But it does match the indices. Also, I forgot to mention there are, I believe, 6 different colorways of this still available. There's 3 of them that have sold out, but you can just, I'll leave a link to the website actually, and you can go check them out. For the price, under $300, it's hard to beat that for a 300-meter dive watch. It might be a little more with the cost of shipping. I'm not sure what that's going to be. But this watch is around $300. Okay, let's get back to the wrist shot. The dial is not white either. It's kind of an off-white or a yellowish color. So you can see the thickness at play here. Just a slab-sided case. But for 300-meter water resistance, you can expect it to be a little bit thicker. 6.5-inch wrist and 52-millimeter wristband. So you can see the fixed center link doesn't really come into play here. It integrates nicely into the bracelet. But yeah, I think it would look a lot better if you could somehow bring the beads of rice bracelet up into the case a little bit farther. So we are zoomed out for a little bit different perspective. Put my SKX next to it. So if you have not already subscribed, please go ahead and subscribe. Like the video, leave a comment below. And we'll go ahead and pause the video and come right back with the Lume. So as you would expect, the Lume on this thing is amazing. It's really nothing to complain about there. It has the lumed bezel insert, full lume dial, lume pip, lumed hands. It's not quite as bright as what it is showing on screen, but it's definitely bright. So if you're into full lume dials, it's again hard to beat for that $300 price range on this. And oh yeah, off to the right we have my Seiko SKX 009 for a reference. This Borealis is sitting off the table a little bit higher than the SKX, but it's still very bright. So again, thank you for watching. I'll catch you on the next video. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button. I'll let this run for 30 more seconds and see how long the Lume lasts.